Hey guys, today we're talking about percent expressions. So let's talk about some basic things that we do on a daily basis. For example, if we bought a book that was discounted at 60% off and the book cost $10, so how much would we actually pay? Well, if we took 60% of 10, we would get $6. So that's the discount. This is how much we would be getting off of the original price of the book. So 10 minus 6, and we would pay $4. What if it was 10%? What would you do? Go ahead and try it real quick and pause the video. I'm going to show you what I would do. If the book's $10 and it was 10% off, you would be getting $1 off. So take $10 and take the 1 away, and so you would pay $9. There's another trick that you can use to do this. And the way we explain it is that if I am trying to figure out how much I pay, I can figure out the percent that I'm paying. For example, mathematically expressing a 60% off discount is the same as multiplying my original amount by 0.4 or 2/5. The reason why it works for both of these is because 4/10 and 2/5 are the same, because 2/5 is really 4/10. So if we look at this, the original minus your discount equals what you pay. So if your original is 100% of the item and you're taking 60% off, you're really paying 40%, and 40% equals 4/10, which equals 2/5, and 40% also equals 4/10 written as a decimal. So try to explain in your notebook why expressing 10% is the same as 9/10 or 9/10 written as a fraction. I'll be back in just a second to show you the answer. Okay, so let's think about this. The original minus your discount equals what you pay. So if my original is always 100% and my discount is 10%, I'm going to pay 90% of the item. So let's prove this with our originals from the previous slide. Okay, so for example, I'm going to do this in blue so you can see the difference. If I take $10 times what I'm actually paying, which was 40%, then I pay $4. Or if I take $10, for the example that you did, times my 90% or 9/10 or 9/10 as a fraction, I am paying $9. What about a markup? How do we solve for the new price? For example, if you buy a book that's originally $10 and is marked up 60, how much would you pay? Well, I'm going to pay the $10, but I'm also going to pay 60% more of that, which is $6. So I have to add my original 10 on to get $16. That's what I would pay. Okay, so let's look at the next example. Then we're going to show why we have a trick here. Expressing a 60% markup is the same as multiplying by 1.6 or 8/5. So if we look at 8/5, it's also 16/10. The reason why this one works is because I'm taking my 100%, but I'm adding the markup, which is 60%, to get 160% of the original item. So it's the original plus the markup, which equals the price that people are going to pay. So when we go back over here, if I took $10 times 1.6, I would get $16. Okay, you try this one. What if a book's markup was 10%? Go ahead and try it, and then I want to see if you can prove that that is the same as multiplying by 1.1, which is the same thing as multiplying by 11/10. All right, I'll be back in just a second to show you what I did. All right, here we go. I'm going to show you what I think. And if you take the book's markup as 10%, you're going to pay $1 more. And that dollar plus your $10 equals $11. So if we think about it from the percent perspective, I'm paying $10, which is 100%, plus 10 more percent. So I'm really paying 110%. So when you multiply by 1.1, you get $11. So taking a discount is the same, or excuse me, marking it up by $1 is the same as if you mark it up with a 1.1. So here you're adding on the 10. Here it's done in the step for you. Okay, let's look at some other examples. Let's write down all the expressions that are equivalent to 25% off of 140. So let's think about this. If I'm taking 25% off of this, it's a discount. So really what I'm paying is 75%. Do we see any of these that represents? Well, I see one right here. This one right here is 75% of 140, which gives me 105. If we look up here, 3/4 is also 75%. It's 0.75 times 140, which gives me, again, 105. So this one also works. Okay, now these two. Am I adding something on or am I taking something off? If it's a discount, I'm removing the 25%. So 25% times 140 gives me $35. So really what I'm taking is 140 minus 35, which is 105. So this one works as well. What about this one? Write down all the expressions that are equivalent to $70 marked up 80%. So this time I'm adding 80% on. So if I'm adding 80% on, I'm taking my original 70 and adding 80% of 70. So what we get when we do this is $56 additional dollars plus your 70, which gives us $126. So that's the original way that we're used to, adding it on. We can also do it the other way that I showed you, where we're adding the full 100%. So we have 100% plus our 80%. So what we're really doing is we're marking it up. We're taking the number and we're multiplying by 180%, which is this one right here. This also equals 126. We know this one won't work because it's only 20% of 70, and that would be the discount. And this one won't work because we're taking 80% of 70, but we're not adding the 70 back on like we did up here. Okay, 4/5, that's 80%. So you're just multiplying it and you're not adding anything on. This is 20% and you're multiplying it and you're not adding anything on. But this one, if we look at 9/5, that's really 18/10 or 1.8 times 70, which gives us our $126. Okay, go ahead and try this one for me. Write down all the expressions that are equivalent to 120% of 70. So that means of in math means to multiply, so make sure that you are following that. I'll be back in just a second to show you what I did. Okay, so I'm back. 120% is 1 2/10, or 120 over 100, right? It's 120 divided by 100% per 100. And that simplifies to 12/10, which simplifies to 6/5. So you are taking 120% and you're multiplying it by 70. So this number, this number, this number, and this number could all be multiplied by 70. So here, 120%, which would look like this, times 70, and 12/10 is an equivalent fraction of that. So this one works. Does 1/5 work? No. Does 6/5 work? Yes, because it is 120 over 100 simplified. Okay, so all of those work because if you take 6/5 times 70, you get 84, which is our answer. 120% of $70 is 84. So if I take my original 70 and then I multiply it by 1.2 times 70, if I multiply 1.2 times 70, I get 84. And then I'm adding on 70 more. Does that work? Does that give me 84? No, we're not adding it on. It's not a markup. Okay? 70 minus 1 and 2 tenths times 70. Is it a discount? No, so I'm not taking the 84 away to get a negative 14. That doesn't work either. What I would have needed to do was instead take 20% of 70, which would be 0.2, and that would have been 14, and 14 times 70 would have given me 84. But that wasn't what they gave us. So this one definitely doesn't work, and neither does this one. Does 1.8 work? Well, if I take 1.8 times 70, I get 126, and that is not the right answer. If I take 1.2, it does work. We said that that's an equivalent up here, and that gives us 84. So this one works. And taking 20% does not work because 20% of 70, if we multiply it, gives us 14, and that is not 84. All right, so when else can we use this? Jem does not want to spend more than $30 on new earrings. Select all the earrings Jem should buy. Okay, stick with me. I know this is a longer video. 10% off 35. So take 35 times 9 tenths, and then 25 plus 20%, you would take 25 times 120 or 1.2 because you're adding your original with the 20% shipping fee. So when I do this, 35 times 0.9 gives me 31.5. So would she want to buy this one? She doesn't want to spend more, so the answer is no. Over here, if I take 25 times 1.2, I get exactly 30. She just says she doesn't want to spend more, so this one actually works. Go ahead and try the other ones, and I'll be back in just a second to show you what I did. Okay, so let's take a look at my work. Over here, I multiplied my 85%, which is what I'm actually paying. If I'm getting 15% off, I'm paying 85%, which is $28.80. So $28.80, yep, she would want to buy that one. Over here, it would be $31.59 because you're multiplying this by 1.17. You're paying 17 extra percent. So you're really paying 117% of 27. So this one does not work. 25% off would give us exactly 30 because we're paying 75%. So this one works. And over here, 1 and 1/10 because I'm paying 100% plus my 10%, which gives us 110% or 1.1, which is $29.92. So I'd be okay buying that one. One last example. Jerica needs to buy 4 cakes. She is researching to get the best price. Cakery is selling each cake for $40 with a 20% discount. Sprinkles is selling each cake for $34 with a buy one, get one for half off. If she wants to buy 4 cakes and each store charges 8% sales tax, how much will she save by choosing the deal at Sprinkles? Okay, this one is a little bit more complicated. So at Cakery, I want you to watch me. You don't have to write this down yet. I want you to pause the video, or excuse me, I want you to pause what you're doing and watch me. $40 times 4. She's going to pay $160, but she's getting a 20% off discount, and that's why she's only paying 80%. So she's paying $128 for 4 cakes. She's got to pay, though, an 8% sales tax. So she's paying 100% of this plus 8%, so 1.08. So her total at Cakery is $138.24. At Sprinkles, she's paying $42 for one and then $21 for the other because she buys one, gets one half off. She's paying $42 for one and then $21 for the other. So she's paying $126. And then you have to find her tax, which would be 1.08, which her total then is $136.08. So when you subtract 24 minus 8, you get 16, and 138 minus 136, you get $2.16. So she saves $2.16 by going to Sprinkles. All right, and that's all I have for you. Make sure you pause that and write that down. See you next time.